Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sports View. I'm Ron Cameron.
And I'm Bob Page. Our paying sponsors, and that is at the bottom of the list, pal. Our paying sponsors
don't hand me that
today.
Garbage.
As always, Al Dietrich,
rear you.
GMC truck on M59 on the Pontiac Waterford area. And again, for all you status-seeking yuppies who are looking for those four-wheel drives like Ron Cameron, go on out there. Ronnie will meet you there this weekend. You're going to pick one out, aren't you? Four-wheel drive out there, Uncle Al's.
Great, you got to see his selection out there.
Oh, absolutely, terrific. Yeah, you're just saying that because he advertises in your
he does advertise.
newspaper too.
Page 3, Al Dietrich.
We also have Cattleman's Meat Center, David Roth and Company, and their
David
new
Lee
place,
Roth.
and their new place in Hamtramck. We'll tell you about that.
Take your submachine gun to the Hamtramck location.
Binary Computers, Woodward and 12 Mile. We have the Sting, John Rouser, Esley Thomas and Company, and the old Playboy Club. We have Top Hat Hamburgers, and they're two big locations.
Bob Page lived there before he went to New York.
And
couldn't afford anything else.
13 Mile, great food at Top.
You ought to know, you're there every day.
Fred Wetzel and the folks at T-Com Pagers. If you're a busy corporate executive, again, like Ron Cameron, you need to stay in touch. You need a pager from T-Com. We have Pass, the Pro-Am Sports Systems. There was one other sponsor.
Yes.
I can't remember what. Oh, yes, of course. And we have Sports Fans Journal.
Sports Fans Journal, 76 pages now. We're going to be adding more pages, and the only bad part about it is Bob Page writes. But we have some good points to this magazine, too. If you'd like to subscribe, call this number 24 hours a day, 751-1818.
Boy, did you blow it, right? You never miss an opportunity to plug ad nauseum, I might add, that rag on this program. And you blew it. You blew a major opportunity because our guest in the program is, go ahead and say it, a Sports Fans Journal columnist.
Ray Lane.
How could you not say that?
But you see, I'm still in shock because two heroes of my childhood days are here sitting right with me now. When I was a little kid growing up, I used to watch Ray Lane on TV and listen to Bob Page on the radio.
That's right.
Way back when.
I remember that also. I'm not supposed to talk yet. I know that. But I used to have my tires, by the time I came out, my tires were gone. I knew had them.
Yeah.
And Cameron goes back a long time. One of the classic
me.
We had Dick the Bruiser on the show 3 years ago.
Bruiser.
And Dick the Bruiser was sitting there trying to remember where he placed Cameron. He couldn't quite figure it out. And halfway through the show, he stops mid-sentence and he points his finger and says, "No, I remember you. You were that snot-nosed punk kid who used to shine my shoes down at the Pickford Shelby."
Remember when it was a shirt and had like a no, I wasn't a shoe. I was a night manager down there way back when.
Yeah.
But Ray was the first sportscaster. No, it was Ray before Don Watrick.
Oh, yes.
Or Don Watrick and Bill Fleming.
Yes, afterwards. After, not before.
Well, I thought you were the first.
No, you're thinking of Bob Reynolds.
When TV came into existence, Ray Lane was there. The first person I saw on TV in the early 50s.
Well, of course, you had been at the asylum for a while when they didn't have TV.
Yes. Well, in the early 50s, Ray, that's when you started in the early 50s.
No. I didn't start here until 61.
You were in baseball. Oh, you were in baseball in the early 50s.
No, I didn't start here until 61.
Thank you.
No, but Ray, you were in pro baseball what year?
57.
57. I thought you were.
You mean doing the baseball games or trying to play baseball?
Trying to play baseball.
57.
Oh, I thought somebody mentioned that when Babe Ruth was leaving, you came in.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Now, let me ask you a serious question. And in this business, it's known for turnover and people getting stabbed in the back and fired left and right. How has Ray Lane survived all these years? And we could ask this of Al Ackerman, too, but I mean, you guys are the deans.
The deans, yeah, I love that. I guess because we work for less than minimum. And somebody asked me that. I said, well, go ask the boss. We played it straight for a while. Now we get a little flaky as we get older as far as saying things. I don't know. Lucky. I don't know the answer to that. Time may be running out. Who knows? Just keep doing it until you get it right, and they just let you keep going along. Had a good run at Channel 2 for 21 years, and the management came in, and they bounced us, and it was about time to change. I don't know the answer. I do not know the answer. I guess maybe being pretty good, too.
Well, I think so, too. It's a
Smiling face on
tribute
TV
to you and Al.
Kept the youthful look despite his old age. No, not old age. Older age.
People ask me all the time, well, what do you think of Bonds? What do you think of Sonny and people like that, or Ray or Al? I say, no matter what you think of Ray Lane or Ackerman or Bonds or anybody, you must respect them. They have survived for a quarter century in one of the most cutthroat businesses in the country, in this town.
Every day's a comeback.
You must feel good about that.
I do, but now I'm looking ahead, and I say, I wonder what's ahead for the next couple of years. Who's going to replace me or who's going to come in? I don't worry about it. I think you do your job. You not try to be different, try to be yourself. And somebody out there, again, you know this as well as I do, and you do too. If the numbers say, okay, we like the guy, then you survive. Maybe it was also the supporting cast that I worked around for a number of years.
But of course, you look at Cameron. I mean, as obnoxious as the guy is, he had good numbers.
I had great numbers.
He had good numbers at XYZ, and they bounced him. I mean,
they bounced because they're incompetent fools
whatever. We
over
don't
there
have
at that
to get into
station.
that.
But yeah, we don't have to get into that. But the numbers, and look, by the way, look at the ratings now. You guys have taken a dive. Congratulations.
You see, I've opened Pandora's box here.
And it is a cutthroat business, though. I mean, you got people knifing you in the back, and the management talk out of both sides of their mouth.
Oh, sure. And again, when you're talking about that, I come in and I say, well, have I been known as the old proverbial kisser? And I don't believe so. I've done my thing. I've done what they've asked me to do.
There have been a few that have been.
Oh yeah. And I say, I don't know the answer to it. And so if I had to write something or go to a seminar and say, this is how you survive, I don't know. Because there's been times when I've lost my temper and yelled things and been anti-management too, on decisions.
Any young people in this business who get a chance to meet you for the first time and talk to you come away and they say basically the same thing. Eli had this reaction years ago, and it's true. He was surprised at how opinionated you are in person and on shows like this. You're extremely candid, but not much opinion on the air.
No.
Is that by design, and is that part of the secret to your longevity?
I think it's a transition of when I started in the Detroit area and started in the business here, that there were not the management, the people they weren't looking for opinions. They wanted the facts, how the game come out, give me the story, and I think, to be very truthful, Ackerman in Detroit was the first one that really voiced his opinion.
Sure.
And I think maybe 5 or 6 years later, I decided, hey, he's got great numbers, maybe I should be able to do that. I couldn't do it every day because I just felt there wasn't enough to complain about every day. Now I think I am very opinionated, and I think maybe it came with maturity too. I was a little late maturing as far as on the air.
Well, you say maturing, but also guts. You got the guts. You say, hey, you feel a little secure now. You've been around for 100 years, so you feel secure.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. 100 years. We'll take it back about 30. Okay. Yeah. I don't mean my age. I mean the amount of time on the air here. And yeah, I am opinionated now, and I think that came with age. And I felt, well, it's safe now, and an older guy should be able to say what he wants to. But at the same time, I don't ever on the air want to say, okay, take away from something that should be talked about on the air. My job is to inform. The next thing, I think, maybe, is to voice my opinion. So I want to get the information out to the people first before I say, okay, this is my viewpoint.
Now, you've been at Channel 50 how long? You've been there a long time.
3.5 years. That's long in a lot of places.
That's long in this business because you don't really make any changes on there. It's more or less stayed the same.
Changes are coming at Channel 50, off the record, guys, but they are. But I don't know if they involve the sports department, but there'll be a few changes within the next 60 days.
Well, you're on the record on this program. So what's going to happen?
I think we'll have a little shake-up in the news department and behind the scenes over there. And there's talk that Channel 50 will, instead of doing a half hour, maybe in April, we'll be going to an hour.
Well, they've got to
10
make a
o'clock to
decision
11 o'clock.
Either they're going to commit to doing serious, big-time TV news, or they shouldn't do it. And they haven't been able to commit so far.
They have purchased a lot of equipment. They're going to start adding on as far as personnel people. And we've had a gentleman who has retired, or semi-retirement right now, George Williams, a friend of yours. And George, because of health...
They grew up together. Why isn't this guy retired?
We've put up with this stuff for almost 5 years in the show. Ray, go ahead.
The truth hurts.
Excuse the
He's still got
interruption,
the same
Ray.
red sweater. One had a bullseye in the back.
That might be a new one. He changes them every 6 years.
Yeah, I changed that last
But anyway, go ahead.
Mr. Williams has stepped down because of health and age, and we now will have sort of a transition in management. And I think that you will see, and a new news director within the last 5 months, a new push toward, okay, here we go, we're going to take off and we're going to do this. If not, we'll be in ashes.
More sports, or sports again going to be in the
I would say we've been more sports. No, more sports. Within that hour, we should be in there at least twice, if not 3 times in that hour, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The bulk of it will come probably around quarter till 10 till the hour, 11 o'clock. That way we get final scores and a lot of the highlights.
And how much longer for Ray Lane? Your kids are grown. You got a son who's a very successful attorney, former Michigan baseball player. Your daughter's in the business, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in St. Louis, the NBC station, the anchor reporter there.
And you're an empty nester now, so you and your wife got a condominium?
I have a son that's a junior in college at Michigan. And he's talking about law school, so it may mean another 5 years.
Got to work another 5 years then, huh?
I like it. Somebody said, hey, let's get ready for retirement, some of my old friends. I said, I don't think I want to. I want to keep my hand in it somehow, some way. If it's not doing a nightly show, it's doing events.
Well, Ray, you're bouncing around doing a lot of things now, aren't you? Not just Channel 50. I mean, as although you...
Because I work for a low price, I have to have 5 or 6 jobs.
A little in the background for you.
Doing a little thing for PASS, some play-by-play of the basketball, and also for an outfit called Raycom. Worked for them last year down in the Metro Conference basketball and doing part of the Big Ten package.
You got stiffed a few years ago with some money, though. You were doing something.
Yeah, an outfit called Sportsview out of Nashville, Tennessee. They had the
Sportsview. I wonder.
Yeah, had the Big Ten package.
They related to us?
Belly up, and none of us got paid.
Huh. Well, they've said they're as shaky as this Sportsview, huh? But not quite. Anyway, we got lots to talk about with Ray Lane on the show today, and we'll continue with him right after these messages.
It's a new generation of Oldsmobiles.
And I'll Dietrich Olds GMC trucks,
Choose from a great selection of Oldsmobiles.
including Cutlass Supreme and the restyled Cutlass CL.
Or hundreds of GMC trucks in stock.
Complete with an Uncle Al price that can't be beat.
For sales or service.
Let Uncle Al come through for you.
East of the Pontiac Airport.
On M59 in Waterford.
If you're a sports fan, you should subscribe to this magazine, Sports Fans Journal, and here's how. Our monthly columnists include Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Dick Vitale, Denny McClain, George Allen, Bob Feller, Jimmy Carson, George Blaha, Bill Gadsby, and a whole lot more. Sports Fans Journal is available at newsstands and bookstores. To subscribe, call our 24-hour hotline at 751-1818. Sports Fans Journal, a must for sports fans living anywhere in Michigan or the U.S. Call now, 751-1818.
Hey, where's the meat?
It's right here at Cattleman's Meat Center where you can buy fresh, lean, top quality beef, pork, veal, poultry, even fish. Packing house style, save up to 40%, quality guaranteed.
Where's the meat?
Come inside our 3,500 square foot cooler for everyday low prices like bone-in New York strips, just $1.59 a pound. Cattleman's Meat Center, Eastern Market area and Hamtramck. No limit, save up to 40%.
You said it, honey.
Put
We're
your
back
tongue in
on
your mouth.
Sportsview,
We're
and
doing a
we
show
have,
again.
oh, shut up. Ray Lane is here, my hero as a childhood, as well as Bob
Your
Page
hero
was
as
at
a
that time,
child,
and now I
yeah.
found out what a bum this guy is. Not Ray, I mean Bob Page I'm talking
Bob's
about.
a wonderful guy, too.
Yeah, he is. Could have fooled me.
You owe your
Well,
money?
Ray Lane is here, long time. You were a pro baseball player back in the early days of baseball, I think.
What?
Before they had
In the 50s,
Did
in
you
the
come out
50s.
when you come in when Babe Ruth was coming out? Or
No,
something?
I didn't. I was just built like Babe Ruth.
You know,
That was
let's put this thing in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. As you watch this
Well, he's been
program,
around forever.
my partner is getting ready to celebrate a birthday. I won't say, let's just say, you know, the TV show 30-something, Ronnie's going to celebrate 40-something. This guy looks twice as good as you, pal. Twice as good as
Let
you.
me tell you
So get
something.
off the age thing and ask him a good question.
Because I don't get
Bob,
facelifts like you guys do.
Oh, I haven't had one yet, but I've been thinking about it, but I'm afraid that they might have to pull up.
We were talking about baseball here a moment ago, and I think most people, you know, will always remember you in this town, at least those over the age of 30, for being Ernie Harwell's
40 or
partner
50.
before Paul Carey. Tell us again why you left the Tiger broadcast, and if you think you made the right career decision at that point.
Okay, tough question. I was making $19,000 a year doing Tiger baseball. 20.
Jim Campbell paid that well.
I paid that. Well, this was 72, and they offered me a $1,000 raise. 73. Harwell had just got a 5-year contract, and well, he should. He's the number one man, and excellent. There was no more money in the pot, they said, for the second man. TV, I was over Channel 2. Van Patrick had been diagnosed to have cancer. His schedule was going to be cut down a little bit. They offered me to replace Van on one of the shows. I won't say it was double the money, but it was better money. I had 2 children in high school at that time getting ready to go to college. And at that time, it was the right decision. 5 years later, however, you take a look and you say, maybe it wasn't the right decision. You look back now and you say, maybe I could have figured something else out. But at the time, it was the right decision. I look back now and wish I had never given it up.
You regret it then?
Sure, yeah. Because if you're in that position and you're thinking about doing baseball, and trying to maybe stay in the baseball level of broadcasting, there's nothing like having even the second or the third job to continually do it and then sending tapes out or contacting
Get to be
another
a number one
company.
guy somewhere.
And someplace you lock onto the number one.
Well, you did go elsewhere to
Yeah,
continue
you-
your
Yes, I did.
baseball
I had a
career.
5-year hiatus after I worked at Channel 2.
Cincinnati Reds?
And the Cincinnati Red deal came up, and it was a TV thing where they did about 44 games a year, similar to the one they have here at Channel 4 in Detroit. And that worked out real well. Did that for 6 years, and then Marge bought the club, and her dog didn't like me, and everybody had to go.
Ray, are you still trying to get back
No.
with a regular baseball gig?
No. I did last year. I thought maybe there was a job in San Francisco. I sound like a gypsy now, wherever you go. But they're few and far between.
Sure.
And I did seek it a little bit last year, and I was too late, and I don't know whether I would have got the job or not, but not now.
At this stage of your career, do you see yourself remaining at Channel 50 for, let's say, the next 5 years before you decide what you want to do about retirement?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would stay at 50 with the assurance by the management that I can do a few other things outside the house that would involve play-by-play. Yeah, I'd like to.
So you've been treated well there?
Yeah, so far. Not paid a lot, but not bad.
Yeah.
You've survived, and that's the name of this business, surviving, right?
We're really getting serious here now, aren't we? Yeah, I am. Excuse me.
But if they're young broadcasters, what advice would you give them except expect some knives
Don't
in the
go in
back?
the business.
Yeah, right. Expect some knives in the back.
There are a lot, how many kids coming out of college, high school, the Howard schools, I'm talking about becoming sportscasters, sports broadcasters, whatever. And have so many kids that say, hey, I know all the facts, I know all this, I know all that.
Forget it.
That's right. I keep saying to a kid, do a lot of reading, not just on sports, current events, current affairs. A lot of kids think, hey, I'm going to start off in Detroit, I'm going to start off Flint.
Doesn't happen.
And even Flint, I mentioned. Sometimes you're going to have to start off someplace else, and if you're not willing
Bad
to
acts. That's what
thank
we
you
like
very
to
much,
say.
you're right. If you're not willing to at least sacrifice a year to 2 years and then say, okay, I'm stepping in.
And not only that, Ray, but be able to sweep, mop, and everything else because you'll be doing it all, and that's the morning drive person. Forget the afternoon
Well, we
drive.
all are asked for advice a lot of times, the young kids, and I tell them all the same thing. I say, young man, if Ron Cameron can make it in this business, you can do it.
And I've made it big. I've made it big.
Ray, of all the people you worked with in town over the years in television news, Jack LaGoff and John Kelly and Marilyn Turner or Bonds, or who are
Paul Harvey?
the biggest characters and maybe a couple of your favorite stories about them?
I got to tell you, the guy that I enjoyed the most being with was Ernie Harwell. So that's because I traveled with him for about 9 years. So I get to know Ernie inside and out. Super gentleman. Characters. Well, we had a guy who's no longer on this earth. The biggest character I ever worked with is Red Jamison, who came in at Channel 2 and was here for about a year and a half. And Red could put away, I'd say maybe a fifth of bourbon each evening. I didn't know it
before the
later
cast?
on. No, this was after the cast. And then in fact, he borrowed a company car on opening day. Had to go back and get his belongings in Alabama and asked somebody if he could use a company car for the weekend, right? Not telling them that he was driving all the way back to Huntsville, Alabama. The car was missing for several days, picked up about 4 tickets along the way, and they bailed him out of jail so he could get the company car back about 5 days later. But he was an eccentric
a tragic story, too.
Well, I got along with everybody pretty well.
Two of my favorite Ray Lane stories. One of the very last shows you did at Channel 2, I'll never forget it. It was fantastic theater. I hope you've got it on tape. Ray was in the unfortunate position of that night having his technical crew totally mess up. It was a busy Friday night. It was a busy Friday night. He must have had like 7 pieces of tape on high school, college, pro interviews. They messed up every single one of them. And finally, he called for this tape and the wrong tape, called for that tape and the wrong tape. And finally, at the end of the show, he takes his scripts and just throws them up in the air, and you see all these white pieces of paper flooding down on the side. One of the great stories.
Glover was the anchor, and I said, Joe, let's try it again tomorrow night. Here it is. I dropped it. Well, they had about 3 extra minutes to go.
And then the other Ray Lane story that I'll never forget, he was, I believe, president of the Detroit Sports Broadcasters. And one day they had Ralph Wilson on as a guest speaker. Ackerman, and I love Al dearly, hated Ralph Wilson. And came with a camera crew with a vengeance. And like Al didn't come in and say, Mr. Wilson, how about an interview? Al walked in the door and said, roll it. And Al walks right up to Mr. Wilson, isn't it time you sell the Buffalo Bills? Mr. Wilson, you're a disgrace. And Wilson's back, and so Wilson's going to leave the meeting. Wilson, you don't mess with a guy like Ralph Wilson like this. And Ray's furious because he set it up and he's the president. Ray and Ackerman in the Detroit Press Club have a shouting match at the top of their lungs, and Lane is screaming, you've never done a thing in this town for sports. And Ackerman's going, flipping it. It was hysterical stuff.
Yeah, Wilson was sitting there at the table. He was trying to get his linguine down, and Al had the microphone. And that was a terrible thing.
Yeah.
You wore a dual standard. You were the president of an organization, plus you were also a sportscaster, and you wanted to do the same thing, but you couldn't that day.
But you and Al actually get along fairly well, don't you?
I think in the last 10 years we tell a lot of funny stories.
Yeah, Al's going to retire
Believe it or
soon.
not. Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah,
well, I'm not ready to go
He
yet.
got the money to retire.
I know it, yeah.
Does he ever have the money?
All right, they're
to retire?
waving frantically, so we got to go to another commercial
Yes.
break right now, and we'll continue with Ray Lane and the hero of my broadcasting childhood, Ron Cameron. Ron Cameron. right
Yeah,
after
like
this.
hell.
I'm sorry, she's out of the office for the day and there's no way to contact her.
With a pager from TCOM, you could contact her anytime.
I know it's an emergency, but it's out of the building now. May I call you later?
With Motorola pagers from TCOM, you can deal with emergencies now.
I'm sorry, our delivery man is on call right now. We won't be able to help you till tomorrow.
Hi, my name is Fred Wetzel with TCOM Paging. If these problems seem familiar to you, then you need a TCOM pager. You'd be surprised how affordable they are. Probably wonder how you've done without one. Give us a call at 559-6826.
Binary Computers is celebrating their 9th anniversary, and how they've become one of Detroit's top independent computer dealers is really simple. A great selection of brand name computer products, outstanding service, and highly knowledgeable trained consultants who make things understandable in plain English. Binary now has facsimile machines and telephone systems, so stop in for special anniversary savings at Binary Computers, Metro Detroit's business computer center, Woodward at 12 Mile, Berkeley. Remember, if you haven't got a computer, you'd better get one before your competitor does.
It's time to eat and I'm so hungry now. My stomach's turning upside down. Day or night when I want a bite, I want the best little burger in town. French fries, onion chips, creamy chocolate shakes, baby, they're so hard to refuse. For dinner or lunch, there's a lot to munch, and for breakfast you just can't lose. Middle day, it's Top Hat, Top Hat. Make it quick, stop that, Top Hat.
We're back on Sports View with Ray Lane, long-time television sports.
As always, the best stories. The best stories are off the air during the commercial. And I'm sorry the fans don't get to hear some of this stuff.
Some of these guys would come up for the news, half are fully sloshed.
I saw a couple of them.
Yes, yeah, drunk as skunks.
I worked with one guy for about a year and a half. He was at Channel 2, ever so briefly, and he did have a problem. But it was like, he could come on. Ladies and gentlemen, a good Monday night to you. Well, it was Tuesday or Wednesday, yeah, but, or they'd give him a bulletin and he couldn't pronounce the word. I remember one night, Cardinal, ladies and gentlemen, frankly, the good Cardinal's dead. Never got the name out, So that was it.
There's some good stuff over the years. All right, I'm sure the fans want to hear some of your opinions about current Detroit sports. And let's start with my favorite topic, those horrendous Pontiac Pussycats of the incompetent Mr. Ford and Mr. Thomas. Any hope for them at all?
And before he answers that, I want to break in and say when I saw something a year and a half ago, replay on the thing, I think I said that last show, of Bob Page just a year and a half ago, saying the Lions are very close to respectability. And I just shook my head like this. Then, not only that,
listen to what Ray's going to say.
Then he said Reggie Rogers was going to get his act together.
I was wrong.
This guy's wrong, right? I guess so.
I would have agreed over a year ago that the Lions were going to show a great improvement, and I guess maybe that I was led down the pearly path by the coach who I liked.
I liked
was at Michigan State, Darryl Rogers. And even in camp, Darryl Rogers had mentioned Reggie Rogers. He's gone if he doesn't improve.
He's gone, all right.
Wrong man still in the front office. Okay, well, here we go again. If that formula hasn't worked in the past 25 years, what makes them think it's going to work the next year? Even though they have a new coaching change and who the coach? Jerry Vanisi came from the Chicago Bears for some reason besides employment, I would imagine.
I would hope.
I talked to Vanisi, and he said the last input he had with that club leading up to firing of Rogers and the replacement with Fonts was last year's draft. That was it. Player personnel. That's only the input I've ever had.
Well, then let me ask you this.
So I don't see a big change.
I said this, several times in this show. I think that Dwayne Fonts, after that incident he had, and it was a big mistake, and I think first of all, I think he should have been fired then. Number two, I think he stabbed Darryl Rogers in the back, and number three, I think he talks out of both sides of his mouth.
So
Other than that, I
what
like the guy.
to is he the right guy?
Wrong choice.
I'd say he's not the right choice, and the other guy sitting over here, Schottenheimer. I would have said.
Well, yeah, but Schottenheimer wasn't available then.
He wasn't available then. Why not wait a couple more weeks?
Why not?
They haven't even got the assistant coaches named yet. If you've named a head coach before the holidays, you'd think you'd had at least some of the assistants hired by now. I heard there was a list. I heard there was a list of at least 10 on the desk, and they were all turned down.
Russ is approving the coaches out there, is
That's
what I understand.
Exactly right.
Why wait? Get Tom Flores in here. He'd run the thing, but Tom Flores is too much for William Clay Flores.
You probably want to ask about baseball. It's pitching with the Tigers, and if they don't have it, they don't have any bullpen unless they make a
They don't have any bullpen. What about Mike Henneman?
That's it. Well, his arm will drop off by July.
What about Guillermo Hernandez?
What name is he going by this year?
Guillermo.
Okay, wonderful. He's cannon fodder. Pitch it in, bam, it's gone. Are you kidding me? No way. Third place at the best.
Ooh.
And the Pistons, I still think, are going to win the NBA championship.
Do you really?
Yeah, they play up
I
and
don't
down
like
to
the
season.
signs. I don't like the
Same as
signs.
last year.
No signs.
I think mentally, I think they got a little passive. They did so well. I think that this year
They shot their wad, is what you're
they're going to
saying.
have to get their act together as far as mentally approaching the game.
You're 100%
Who's
right.
going to
Ray.
win it if the Pistons don't? They're no
I'm not
great
too
teams.
sure that Cleveland won't give a run right to the finals.
Ooh, I think Atlanta will be ahead of Cleveland.
Okay.
All right, well, the Red
Wings.
Wings.
What
We
about
got to
the
ask
hell
about
with
the
them?
Wings. Quickly
What
on the
about the Red
quickly on the
Wings?
Wings.
The hell with
Pretty good team, eh?
Yeah, eh? They're not skating at all, Bruce. But can this
And
Detroit
with that,
club win it this year? No.
No, Detroit cannot win it. And let's check the out-of-town scores.
Bob
right
Probert?
now. I would assume. I hope he's off of it, but he hasn't done nothing.
Being a professional broadcaster, Ray understands what they're signaling out there. They're signaling
That's
for
why
us to
he's
wrap
still
up
talking.
the segment. And
Segment?
Yes. We're going to
Let's get out of here.
Going to go to the final break right now and be back with Ray Lane in just a moment.
All the lightning, all the thunder of America's game. The NBA returns to pass this fall as the Detroit Pistons begin a whole new era of excitement. After a breathtaking trip to the NBA Finals, Chuck Daly's squad is looking to bring a world championship to their new home at the Palace. So make plans now on joining Fred McLeod and Tom Wilson for our 5th season of sensational coverage as Detroit strives to defeat the league's elite on Michigan's cable network of champions. Pass.
That was me, John Rouser, not too many years ago, as a defensive back with the Pittsburgh Steelers, after my playing career at the University of Michigan had ended. Now I'm proud to be co-owner of The Sting, Detroit's most dynamic nightclub. We've got continuous live DJs, continuous videos, and live entertainment every weekend. But you don't have to disco. The Sting is also a great after-work place to meet other professional people who frequent our lounge. So stop in and see us at The Sting. We're in the old Playboy Club, the lodge at Greenfield, with plenty of lighted, secured parking.
May I help you? Yeah! I want something good for my heart. Your heart? Yeah! Keep it light and lean for a healthy heart. What do you know what I mean? How about pasta with fruit? That's great! For a healthy heart.
Eating the right foods can help keep your heart healthy. The American Heart Association, we're fighting for your life.
If you're a sports fan, you should subscribe to this magazine, Sports Fans Journal, and here's how. Our monthly columns include Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Dick Vitale, Denny McClain, George Allen, Bob Feller, Jimmy Carson, George Blaha, Bill Gadsby, and a whole lot more. Sports Fans Journal is available at newsstands and bookstores. To subscribe, call our 24-hour hotline at 751-1818. Sports Fans Journal, a must for sports fans living anywhere in Michigan or the U.S. Call now, 751-1818. Closing out, longtime TV sportscaster Ray Lane. Ray, the television sportscasting in this town, up, down, or
I think it's up. I think because you have more aggressive people, and I think because
have more people, period.
And you have better equipment to go with it, better supporting cast.
Ray, thank you for coming on, putting up with Ron Cameron, and his
Enjoyed it.
questions about your age, and my age too, for that matter. Good luck to you at Channel 50.
tell the truth.
Thank to our sponsors as well, Al Dietrich Oldsmobile, GMC Truck, Cattleman's Meat Center, Sports Fans Journal, Binary Computers, The Sting, Top Hat Hamburgers, Pass, and TCOM Pagers. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye,
Thanks for
everyone.
joining us.